evening just by taking a seat. So whatever is a comfortable seat for you, no hard and fast rules tonight. This is all about you finding comfort and being able to sit in this position for a few minutes while we just settle into the space, settle into our bodies, settle into our breath, and just starting to cultivate an air of alertness and mindfulness into our practice. So just taking a moment to really set yourself up here, making sure that no limbs are restricting movement of any others. So I'm just coming to a nice, tall, upright position. Just turn this music down, it's getting on my nerves. So imagining lots of space between each and every vertebra, growing tall from your tail to your crown, and having your chin so it's parallel with the floor, so slightly tucked to elongate the cervical spine. And let's just take a moment here to either lower the gaze or close the eyes if that feels okay. And let your palms just gently rest either on your knees, your thighs, or in your lap. And let your shoulders be drawn down by gravity. Let them be really heavy. Sense their heaviness. And then bring your awareness into your sitting bones. So sitting squarely in both sitting bones, really anchoring down. Letting the surface beneath you just take your weight. Let's just scan through the body, seeing if there's anywhere we can let go of tension. So thinking about the brow, the eyelids and the jaw. Make sure your teeth are softly parted. Shoulders are relaxed, drawn down and heavy. Rib cage is sitting just above the hips. The hips are soft and open. Sensing if there's any tension being held in the thighs or the calves or the feet. If you encounter any tension, just take your awareness there for a few breaths and see if you can just soften into those tight areas. So the theme of tonight's practice is based on one of the 8 limbs of yoga as part of the ancient teachings, and it's called aparigraha, or non-grasping. So we're really going to try and let go of all the nonsense that this year has chucked at us, all the things we've held on to and become frustrated about, things that we've had no control over, maybe some things that we have had control over, but things haven't gone quite the way we've planned. It's time to let it all go and see if we can, certainly on the mat at least, come to a place of acceptance, trying to find ease in whatever we find in our bodies, in our breath, in our practice tonight, in hope that we can take those qualities off the mat when we've finished our practice. So taking a moment to start to tune into the breath. And with every exhale, just softening a little bit more, letting go of each and everything that does not serve you for your practice right now. Checking in with the shoulders and the jaw. Every now and again, just checking in with the posture that you set yourself up in, making sure we haven't let any pressure or tension creep in. And bringing our awareness to any sounds that we can hear, sounds in the house. Perhaps you can hear the central heating, or perhaps you've got a fire crackling, or perhaps you can hear a distant radio or television. Perhaps you can hear a clock ticking. Each time you settle on a sound, see if you can find another. So just appreciating the layering of sounds in your environment. And then bringing your focus of sound into the room that you're in, until maybe the only thing you are aware of is your own breath. So thinking now about your belly, letting go of any tension in the abdominal muscles, letting your belly be soft, and just watching the rise and fall as the diaphragm moves up and down to make way for the lungs. So just observing the breath here for a few moments. And then slowly bringing your attention to the rib cage and the side body, becoming aware of the motion in the body that the breath causes. Perhaps you're aware of the muscles between each and every rib, gently expanding and contracting. Maybe you're aware of the movement of the rib cage in the back of the body. Just letting your attention linger there for a few breaths. See where the breath is moving you. Making sure that your fingertips are softly curled into your palms, you're not gripping. Checking in with your jaw again. And then letting go of any tension in your ribs, bringing your focus now up to your collarbone area. And just deepen the breath a little and see if you can become aware of when the neck muscles engage as the very tops of the lungs fill. So perhaps taking the deepest breath that you've taken all day. Just a couple more breaths like that, just seeing if you can hold it at the very top, just for a beat or two. No need to make yourself uncomfortable. It's just bringing an awareness to the breath and the breath retention. And then slowly letting all control of the breath go now. Let your breath find its own rhythm. Checking in once more with your posture, just noticing how you feel. And then very slowly letting your eyes open. And just taking a moment to take in your surroundings here. And now let's just pop ourselves off whatever support we're sitting on. And we're going to come to laying down on our backs. So slowly and gently, no rush to get down. Slow as you like. We're just going to ease ourselves down. One shoulder and then the other. Oh, I've got a plant in the way, I can't see you all. And then bringing one knee into the chest and then the other, and just taking a little rock from side to side for a moment here, seeing how that feels. You can either have your knees together or you can have them wide apart, whatever feels nice. And then taking one leg away long and then the other one. And let's just take a moment to settle here in Shavasana pose or corpse pose. Really just take a little waggle here from side to side on your pelvis. Let your lower back be supported by the mat. See if you can do your best to flatten your spine into the mat. Let the mat totally support you. Try and find some space between your shoulder blades. As best you can, I'll be mindful of facing the microphone. As best you can, try and figure out what I'm asking you to do without constantly having to look at your screen, and then you're not at risk of hurting your neck or putting any unnecessary strain on your body. I'll do my best to explain very clearly. So at the moment we're just laying here, being supported by our mats. Palms are upturned in a gesture of acceptance. And ankles are gently relaxed and flopping out to each side. Bringing the right hand now, and bringing the arm up and overhead to stretch away with the right fingertips. So left arm stays down by our side. We're just taking a full stretch from our right fingertips all the way down to our right toes. So pointing away with the right toes, stretching away with the right fingertips. Let's really create some space between the right side of the rib cage and the right hip. So stretch, stretch, stretch. And just relax there. Leave that arm overhead. And now very slowly and mindfully, we're going to bring the left arm up and overhead too. So nice and slowly, no rush to get there. And then when we're there, let's just take a moment to let the shoulders settle into the mat here. So the backs of our hands are touching the floor. Ankles are rolled apart. And we're now just going to stretch into the left side of the body. So really reaching away with the left fingertips, pointing with the left toes. We're going to create some space in the left-hand side of the body. So really stretching away here, creating some space, noticing what's happened with your pelvis. Got a little bit of torsion going on here. Obviously, if anything doesn't feel nice, stop doing it and return to where you felt okay. We should always just be challenging our edge and no further. And just relax here with both arms overhead. Backs of the hands on the floor. Just taking a moment, let those shoulders flatten out here. And now we're going to take a stretch with both sets of toes, both sets of fingers, and reaching away as though we're trying to make ourselves as long as possible here. So really taking the shoulders up overhead. If we were standing up, we'd have our shoulders up round our ears. Then while we're in this position, see if you can slide your shoulder blades down. So we've still got our arms over our heads, but we're trying to move the shoulder blades down so they have more surface area on the mat so that we're not wearing them around our ears. So we're just playing with this position at the moment, seeing how we can move, mobilize and manipulate our shoulders here. And then creeping the left heel over towards the right corner of the mat, take both heels to the right corner of the mat, and then take both wrists to the right corner of the mat. So we're in this kind of banana shape at the moment, where our torso is in the middle of the mat, but our limbs are all stretched out towards the right. So fingertips of both hands are going to the right corner, Toes and ankles of both feet are going to the right corner of the mat. And then relax and slowly move everything back to center, taking a moment just to recalibrate here. Maybe taking a little roll from buttock cheek to buttock cheek, just ironing out any tension there. And then let's walk both heels over to the left bottom corner of the mat, and then take both wrists to the top left corner of the mat and create that lovely banana shape again. Noticing how this feels on this side. We take this full body stretch here. Making sure we're not holding our breath here. So breathing with ease. If you can't breathe with ease, just dial it down a notch where you're not putting quite so much effort in. Remember, we're not trying to really achieve anything here with working within our own limits, with our own breath and our own bodies. Let's slowly come back to center. And then bringing both arms back overhead until they come down by our side. So really nice and slowly here, tuning into the sensations of the shoulder blades on the back of the mat here, as we're slowly bringing the arms back down. Noticing these micro adjustments that our muscles, tendons and bones are all making as we're changing shape. And then when the arms are down by the sides, upturning the palms and bending the left leg and then the right leg, and take both feet as wide apart as your mat. So we've got both knees bent, got our spines flattened into the mat here, and just let both knees knock in towards each other. And bringing the arms out in a T at shoulder height. Just taking a moment here to flatten as much of what's being supported by the mat, trying to really just yield into that surface, taking a moment here. Taking a few breaths in this pose of constructive rest. Breathing into the belly, seeing if you can slightly elongate your exhale. And then sliding the right leg away long. Let's draw the left knee in towards the chest, and just, if you're able to grab around your shin, do that. If you can't get hold of your knee, don't worry, perhaps just grab hold of your leggings. We just want the knee to be towards the chest as we reach away with the right leg. And then breathing in, and on the exhale, we're going to bring our nose up towards our knee. So very gently, nose to knee. Hold it here just for an inhale and an exhale, and then slowly lowering down. Taking the left leg away long, bringing the right knee in towards the chest, taking a moment here. Inhale, and on the exhale, bringing the nose up towards the knee. Just holding it for an inhale and an exhale. And then slowly back down again. So we're going to go once more on each side. So when we bring our nose up to the knee, trying to make sure that the lengthened leg, that you've got the back surface of the leg, as much of it as possible is making contact with the mat. So really anchoring down in the heel and the calf. There'll come a point where there's probably a bit of the leg that's impossible to get on the mat, but do your best to just anchor down nice and heavy in the lengthened leg. So inhale, and on an exhale, bring that nose up towards the knee. Let's flex into the foot of the outstretched leg. So really flex into that leg. Taking a moment, an inhale and an exhale. Remembering to breathe, and then slowly lower down. Stretch that leg away long, and for the last time, let's bring the right knee in. Flex into the left leg this time, so we're starting to Bring a bit of a stretch into the Achilles, into the calf, into the hamstring. And inhale, and on the exhale, bringing the nose up towards the knee. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then slowly lower that leg down. And just let both feet, we do this with our knees bent. This time I want us to try it with our legs outstretched. So both legs are stretched out. We're just going to take both ankles or both feet towards the right, then both feet towards the left. So we're kind of doing this windscreen wipery sort of movement, where we just get to the point where you can speed it up a little bit, but you're doing it with no tension in your feet whatsoever. So you're literally just waggling your feet from side to side. So we're starting to mobilize the ankle joint here. We don't usually do it like this, but tonight we are. So just moving the ankles from side to side. And then coming to stillness and bringing the left knee up towards the chest once more. And this time we're going to place the sole of the left foot inside the right thigh and just let the left knee fall down towards the floor. Now, your knee might not go all the way down, it doesn't matter. We're just gently putting the leg into position there, and we're opening at the hip on the left-hand side. So just noticing how this feels here. So if you were standing up, this is like a supine version of tree. So we're looking like the figure 4 at the moment, just noticing how that feels in this side, noticing what's happening to where you're being supported on the mat whilst laying here. And then slowly just leaving the foot where it is, but bringing the knee back up to center. So we've got left knee bent, right leg stretched away. Now bringing the left arm away at shoulder height. We're just going to reach across with the right hand, grab the left knee and roll it over our body. So the left knee is rolling over towards the right side of the body. Left shoulder in particular is heavy and anchored down. So we've got a spinal twist going on here. It doesn't matter that your knee, it doesn't matter where it gets to, as long as both your shoulders are still anchored down. So once you're here, if you want to add a little bit more to this lovely twist, you might want to lift and turn your head towards the left. So knee is going towards the right, head is going towards the left. And just check in with your breath here, make sure you're still breathing with ease. Noticing how you feel while you're in this twist. And then head and neck come back to center. Slowly rolling that knee back to center. And bring the right knee in to join the left, bring them both up to the chest and just take a little roll from side to side here. Massage into the lower back. And now let's take the left leg away long and bring the right foot to the mat. And then just let the right knee fall out to the side. Not literally fall, gently place it so we're in this lovely tree position again. Noticing how it feels on this side. Maybe it feels a bit different. Perhaps you're tighter one side than the other. So just taking a moment here to tune into the breath, where you're feeling this stretch. If there's any way you can release and let go of the tension. Letting go of any tension that you feel stored in the hips. Remembering it's well-known, well-documented fact that apparently we hold a lot of emotional tension in our hips. So if you suddenly burst into tears, you'll know why. Because we're releasing the hips here. Checking in with the shoulders and the jaw here too. There's a tendency for them to start tensing up once we're kind of settled into a position. Very slowly now, planting the right sole of the foot onto the mat. Let's bring that knee up and roll it all the way over towards the left-hand side by gently placing the left hand on the knee. Right arm comes away from the body at shoulder height, so keeping the shoulders down. And then maybe lifting and turning the head towards the right this time. Just noticing how you feel on this side. Hopefully you can feel a nice stretch into the outside of your right hip. Try not to grasp too tightly with the left hand that's holding the right knee. Just let it be. And then slowly head and neck come back to central. And let's roll that knee back over. Bring both knees in towards the chest and take a little rock and roll here. Now taking both feet really wide, both knees really wide. Imagine you're trying to get your knees into your armpits. Once you've got your legs in this extremely glamorous position, reach up between your knees and grab the outsides of your feet. So this is happy baby. So just taking a nice little side to side rock here, opening the hips a little bit more, just massaging the lower back. And then gently coming to rest. So slowly placing one foot down and then the other, and bring your feet as wide as the mat. And then we're going to take both knees so that they roll over towards the right hand side. So there's that twist that we do when we're seated called deer pose. This is like a supine version of deer pose. So both our knees are rolled over towards the right hand side. So you should now be aware of tension in your left quadricep muscles, which are the big thigh muscles in the front of the thigh here. Not a lot going on in the right hand side, maybe for you there is, but just noticing, seeing how that feels. And then slowly bringing both knees up to the center, noticing how the pelvis feels as we transition. And both the knees are coming over towards the left now. So gently, gently, no rush to get there. We're letting go of any of the outcomes that we're expecting for tonight. We're just going with the flow. So perhaps now you can feel that the tension has shifted to the right thigh and hip. Checking in with the breath again, making sure that the jaw is relaxed and soft. Noticing where your mind goes when you're relaxed in these positions. And then slowly bringing both knees back to center. And bringing both feet in to about hip width apart, in a little bit closer to your bum. Just setting yourself up. We're just going to do a couple of rounds of bridge pose. If you've got your block or your cushion handy, perhaps grab them and just wedge between your knees, your block or your cushion. Just something small. It just helps bring the right tension and stops your knees falling apart. And slowly starting to articulate the spine by moving the pelvis forward and back. We're just starting to raise our hips towards the ceiling here. Palms should be down, gently pressing onto the mat. So each time we bring our hips up, we're sending our thighs forward. We're sort of pushing our knees forward here as we raise the hips up. Engaging in the glute muscles and the bum muscles at the back there, really helping to hold you up. And then going down again. So we're working up to this, we're taking it nice and easy. And after the very next time we do this, the next time we bring our hips high, we are going to stay here for a few breaths. So lifting the hips high here, really engaging in the quads. And now just squeezing your shoulder blades together here, maybe clasping your hands together underneath your bum. It just helps give you a little bit more leverage. So by having the block or cushion between your knees, you should feel a good engagement in your quad muscles now. So nice strong leg muscles. We're in a lovely little back bend here, so the hip flexors are getting a good old stretch, squeezing the shoulder blades together. The chin is tucked in so that we're really lengthened in the cervical spine. And we're still breathing. And then slowly unclasping the hands if you've got them clasped. Let the shoulders just spread and flatten into the mat. And one vertebrae at a time. Just visualize laying your spinal column back down onto the mat. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And then lowering all the way down. And just moving the block from between your knees now. Take one leg away long, then the other leg away long, and just take a little roll from buttock cheek to buttock cheek here. And then slowly coming over onto your side. We're going to make our way up to a seated position. I don't want you getting too comfy down there. So we're not going to be seated for very long. We're just going to mobilize into our necks. So making yourself comfy, bringing an awareness to the length of your spine once more. And just tucking the chin all the way down onto the chest. So you're as long as you can possibly be in your spine. Make sure you're not grasping with your hands. And feel the lovely stretch down the back of your neck. Making sure you're breathing with ease. If you're not breathing with ease, have a little bit of self-inquiry. What are you doing that's making it hard work for yourself? Then from here, let's just gently roll the right ear over to the right shoulder. So we feel a really strong engagement down the left side of the neck, all the way from the ear into the shoulder. Let the left shoulder be really heavy here. There's a temptation for it to want to get involved in this stretch. And then from here, just turn your face to look up at the ceiling. So we've got our head tilted and now we're looking up. So we're just starting to explore the range of movement we've got in our cervical spine here. And then take your face back to look at the floor. So the ear is back over the shoulder again. And then bring it back to neutral. Just have a little reset and recalibrate here. Make sure that your vertebrae are all stacked one on top of the other, nice and tall and long. And let's take the left ear over to the left shoulder. Just see how it feels on this side. Making sure that your hands are relaxed, not grasping. Noticing if there's any more or less tension this side. And then with that, with this tilt in the head, just take your face up to look at the ceiling. Watching what's going on in that left shoulder at the same time. And then face comes back to the starting position and slowly bringing the head and neck back to center. Then from here, just taking a turn, looking over your right shoulder. Again, not grabbing the hands, making sure both shoulders are nice and heavy. Back to center, and let's look over towards the left. And back to center. If your block is handy, your block, your cushion, anything you've got, just bring it beside your left hip at the moment, just to Can you still hear me, everybody? Hooray, sorry, I first of all, I lost some of you and then I lost all of you. Anyway, so hopefully you've had a chance to go the other side. This time we're going to bring the block sort of almost behind us. We're going over to the left-hand side, so the left hand comes behind us. We're going to take our right hand to the left knee, sit nice and tall here, really start to use that hand to pull yourself around a little bit and then look over your left shoulder. So just taking a moment here, finding your breath. Really heavy in the sitting bones, anchoring down here. Head and neck come back to center, and then we're going to unravel, and let's go around to the other side. So maybe just shifting the block behind you. So right hand comes behind you, sitting nice and tall. Really set yourself up in the lift and lengthen first. And then the very last thing you do is turn your head and neck. So we're starting to engage with the twist. So it's the rib cage that's moving. And then we can look over the right shoulder. So maybe feeling quite intense stretching into the left shoulder here. Maybe not, maybe that's not where you're feeling it. And then back to center. And just bringing the hands together, interlacing the fingers, and then let's stretch them overhead. Really stretching away here, stretching away, trying to create some space between the ribs and the hips. And then drawing the shoulders down our back, so we don't want to be wearing them around our ears. And then letting them come all the way down to the sides, joining them at heart center in prayer. And let's just take a little twist towards the left, bringing the left elbow behind you. And then back to center, keeping really well grounded here. Let's go all the way around to the right. So we're keeping the hips quite square here and just trying to isolate the movement in the upper part of the body. And then back round to center again. Bringing the hands down, we're slowly going to transition till we're on all fours. So coming round onto all fours, however is comfortable and convenient for you. So we're going to tuck the toes in our all fours position tonight. We don't often have a specific cue for this, but tonight we're going to tuck the toes because I know you all hate it, and it's the only real bit of work we're going to do tonight. So just taking a moment here to tune in with your feet and your toes, and walk the hands back towards the knees here. Maybe that's far enough and you can feel your feet shouting at you. If you can tolerate a little bit more without pain, there should be no pain, it's just discomfort. Bring your hands onto your thighs and let's just rest a moment so that our feet are getting a lovely stretch out here. We're stretching the plantar fascia, the toes are getting a good stretch. Oh, especially if you've been on your feet all day today. And then slowly coming back down onto all fours, leaving the toes tucked. In fact, just give them a rest for a minute, pat them down on the mat, and then let's tuck them again. Middle finger is tracking towards the top edge of the mat. We're looking down between both thumbs here, and we're going to take the chin all the way into the chest as we push the mat away. So really actively engage in this movement of pushing the mat away and explore what's happening with your shoulders. We want lots of space. We want doming in the shoulders. Really tucking that chin right in. And then very slowly, let's start to unroll that. So we're starting to drop the belly and the chest. The heart is coming forward, chin is coming forward, sticking our bums out and really taking a lovely opposite stretch here. So hopefully you can feel your abdominal muscles engage as the front body lengthens. Let's take it back the other way. So try and engage, bring your attention to your buttocks here. Really squeeze into your glute muscles as you roll back in the other way. Just bring in awareness here. as we push the mat away again. So shoulders, 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 really pushing into the L shapes between the thumb and the forefinger on each hand. That's where we're pushing into. And then slowly, for the last time, bringing it back the other way. So a very slow and mindful cat-cow tonight. So really lengthening the front body here. Take the chin forward, really stretch the throat. Notice what's happening in your feet. We're just going to hold it here for a breath more. And then come to neutral, untuck your toes, and let's push back into extended child's pose. So really, you can have your knees wide here if that feels nice, really stretching away with the fingers. I want you to be really active in your shoulders here. So really let the space come between your shoulders. If you can put your forehead on the mat and that's comfortable for you, then do that. So really just taking the time to find your place here in child's pose. Maybe you hate child's pose. Some people don't enjoy it. It's quite constricting. If that's the case for you, just bring yourself up to all fours or find a position that is comfortable. This is a restorative pose, so it's all about just gathering yourself once more. And then very slowly from here, starting to bring the body weight forward. Let's come back to our all fours position once more. Knees come back together if you've had them wide. Maybe just walking the knees back a few inches or 10 centimeters or so, maybe a metric or imperial. And we're going to start bringing the body weight forward just a little way until we're starting to straighten out, and then we're going to push back again. So we're kind of alternating between this extended child's pose where we're pushing our chest back towards our thighs, and then we're coming back the other way just to open up the hip flexors. Not hanging here for too long in hanging cobra. Maybe it feels more comfortable for you to widen your feet here. Let's go back again towards extended child's pose. We're not hanging about in either pose at the moment. Once more forward. Maybe adjusting your hands if that makes it more comfortable. Last time towards extended child's pose. Coming right out of the fingertips now into the heels of your hands. And then rolling all the way forward. And this time we're just going to take a moment or two in hanging cobra, so making sure you're set up comfortably. So the upper body is up off the mat, you're being supported by your hands, you're pushing into your hands, you're looking down at the mat, shoulder blades are squeezed in towards each other, elbows are in towards the body. And if that feels okay, let's just take a turn and look over the shoulder towards the left heel. So looking over the left shoulder and then back to center. If this is too intense, just lower yourself down into Sphinx pose and then turn and look at the right. And back to center. And we're all going to lower down now. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And sliding both palms forward until our elbows are in line with our armpits, so that we're all in Sphinx pose now. So looking down now between the thumbs, bringing the attention into the forearms, just pushing the forearms into the mat as we raise our upper bodies off the mat. So once again, we're in a little back bend here. If this is too intense for you, please don't endure. Just bring your face down to the mat. So sending both elbows out to the side now, putting one hand on top of the other. Use your hands as a little pillow and just rest your head and roll your hips from side to side here. Just waggle from side to side to side to side. Just enjoying that. And then taking one arm behind the body and then the other with your palms facing up. And bringing the feet and ankles together and And chin or nose is straight down, so we're not actually leaning on the nose, but we're hovering above the mat. We're going to leave our gaze exactly where it is. And we're going to raise just our upper bodies off the mat. So really reaching away along with the fingers here, trying to peel the upper rib cage off the mat and lower down again. This time we're going to just try and raise the feet. So feet, shins and knees maybe off the mat. And then lower. And this time we're going to try and do both bits together. So just our torso is on the mat. Stretching the fingertips away long. 3, 2, 1, and lower. Let's make a little pillow out of your hands again. Waggle from side to side. And then slowly bringing hands underneath your shoulders, pushing back up. Let's come back up to all fours here. And from this all four position, just move your right hand into the center of the mat. And with the right foot, just step up in however many steps it takes. Bring it to the edge of the mat so that your right hand is just inside it. So we're in this kind of lizard pose. Sorry, I should have done it on the other leg first. It's easier for you to see. So we're in this nice sort of lunge here. And then if you can, just tuck the toes of the back foot, lift the knee and move the knee back. Lift and move, until you're in quite a nice long lunge. It must be comfortable. You don't have to look like I do. This is not my first class today, so I'm really warmed up. So just taking a moment here, you're supporting your weight in both your hands. Got a lovely stretch in the, for you it'll be your left hip flexor. If you feel it would be more comfortable for you to roll out onto the edge of the foot that's in front, then try that, see how that feels. But everybody take the opposite hand, not the one that's next to the foot, and take it to the towards the top edge of the mat. And with the hand that's next to the foot, bring that to your knee, and let's have a look over that shoulder. Just see how that feels. Nice and easy. If it's not nice and easy, just back out of it and come to a less intense version of this, just working with your breath. Head and neck come back to center, bringing both hands back towards the center of the mat. And as we take our hips back towards the back leg, we're going to straighten the front leg and lift the toes. So we're doing a half monkey split here with our stretching into the hamstring of the left leg. So no real intensity here, just enough to feel a little bit of work going on in that leg. And then slowly rolling back onto that foot, tucking the toes of the back foot, bringing both hands to the mat, lifting the back leg up and seeing if you can just bring the right foot next to the left, and we're going to just bring ourselves into a little bit of a squat here. Let me turn around. So you might need to play about with the width of your feet, maybe by walking side to side. Maybe your heels don't go down, it doesn't matter, it's not the law. If you feel you would be better supported by propping something under your heels, like I've just done, then do it. But what we're doing, we're just opening our hips once more. Maybe you'll feel happier, wider, or more narrow. If you are able to get your heels down, the object of the exercise is then to be upright. It doesn't count if your heels are down and you're down here. You have to be upright. Otherwise, just be up on your heels. Anything that allows you to be upright. Bringing your hands together in prayer. And maybe using your elbows just to tease your knees a little bit further away. So if you need something under your heels, take that. Lovely, we've got some lovely squats going on here. And then bringing both hands back down to the mat. And then working on the, I'm going to have to turn around again or I won't remember which leg I was doing. Coming back to all fours here. And then I think for you, you'll need to step your left foot forward and your right knee is back. And then we're going to tuck the toes and just Ease the back leg back until you're in a nice, comfortable, long lizard lunge. So remembering that your shoulders are doing quite a bit of the work here, or they're supporting your weight, so be comfortable here. Just enough of a stretch to open in the hip flexor here, getting a lovely stretch down the front body, opening the hip, and then taking the hand that is not next to the foot towards that corner of the mat, and then holding onto the knee, maybe rolling onto the outside of the foot, and just having a little look over your right shoulder, or whichever shoulder of the leg that's in front. Just taking a moment here, seeing how that feels. And then head and neck come back to the center. Both hands come back down to the mat, into the middle, and slowly let's start pushing the hips back as we straighten that front leg. So drawing the toes back towards the shin, just so we get a nice stretch in the hamstring on this leg. Noticing how this compares. Are you still breathing? Lovely. Then bringing both hands back to the center of the mat as we roll that foot back down. We're going to tuck the back foot, and instead of bringing this foot forward, we're going to take the other leg back. So we're just going to step back into a soft downward dog. It's the only one we're doing tonight. So just setting yourselves up here. Knees are bent as much as they need to be. Sending your hips high. Pushing the mat away with your hands. Trying to create a lot of tension on the mat between your feet and your hands. Just taking a moment here and seeing what is. Hips are high, tummy's tucked, chest is towards the thighs. And then very slowly bringing the body weight forward. We're going to drop to our knees, one at a time. Untuck the toes and push back into child's pose. Whichever version you want to take, be it wide-legged, if you want to just have your arms behind you and completely rest your shoulders, you can. I'm going to take wide-leg version. And just take a moment here to tune in with your breath. And then slowly starting to bring the knees back in so that they're parallel with each other. And then the very last thing we're going to do before we go into Shavasana, we're going to thread the needle. So setting yourself up on your hands and knees, we're going to take our left arm and we're going to thread it underneath the right arm as we bring the left side of our face down to the mat. And just take a little twist here. So perhaps coming up onto the fingertips of the right hand to allow some more space. So either having your toes tucked here or the backs of your feet flat on the mat, your choice. But hips are high. Maybe you want to try extending that right arm up above your head. Seeing how that feels, or just leaving it where it was, up on fingertips. And then slowly unraveling from this position. Left hand comes back to the mat. Let's do one cat-cow here, just moving through the spine. Coming back to neutral and then going on the other side. So right arm feeds underneath left as we bring the right side of the face down to the mat and come up on the fingertips of the left hand. Taking a few breaths here, seeing how it feels. Maybe extending the left arm here. maybe, or maybe just staying where you were. And then slowly coming back to all fours. Just take your body weight forward a little bit. Take your body weight back a little bit. And then slowly come all the way back. Swing your knees around to one side. And slowly, 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 let's bring yourselves down to Shavasana. Now, we haven't used our bolsters yet tonight. Now's a good time if you want to grab yours. I suggest either doing a supported bridge pose or Baddha Konasana, where you put the soles of your feet together and have your bolster underneath your knees, like so. But have a supported version of Shavasana. Or if you've had very tight shoulders today, or you're aware that you're carrying tension in your neck and shoulders, maybe using your bolster or your pillows and laying so that your head is supported by something completely different. So it can slightly hang off at the back, but your shoulders can be open here. So I would suggest bending your knees if you're taking this version. Maybe taking the soles of your feet together, your version, your practice, your body. You decide how you would like to spend the next few minutes. We are going to be here for a few minutes, so make yourselves comfortable. And once again, we will tune into the breath like we did at the beginning of the practice. So just tuning in for the last time, letting everything go that no longer serves you, either in your practice or for your day-to-day. Let go of tension in the jaw and the brow. Let the fingers gently curl in towards the palms. Release any tension in the glutes, the thighs, the knees, the calves, the ankles, the feet, the toes. Let your shoulders really be heavy here. Let the mat support you. And tune into the buzz of energy that's in your body right now. So starting to deepen your breath a little bit now. Maybe bringing a little bit of awareness and movement back into your fingers and toes. Gently rubbing your thumb over your fingertips. perhaps circling into your ankles and your wrists. And then slowly bringing one knee in towards the chest. And then the other knee. And just having a gentle roll from side to side. And then rolling out very slowly onto your right hand side. Just let the blood pressure equalize here. Before slowly bringing yourself up to seated. Keeping your eyes closed here if you can. Just trust that all is well. And once you're seated, bringing your hands together at your heart center. And taking a moment to bow your head in acknowledgement for the practice that you've set aside for yourselves tonight, for your mind, your body and your breath. And as it's the end of the year, I just want to read a little poem or a little musing by a chap called Michael James Wong, who is the founder of a foundation called Just Breathe, which is a global mindfulness collective. He's worth checking out if you like that sort of thing. Anyway, these are his words. As 2020 winds to a close, do not wish it to be gone. Be grateful for our triumphs and resilience and the challenges that we've overcome. Be appreciative for the quietude and our deep personal learnings. The realization that life still thrives, but at a slower speed. Finally, thank you so much for all the practices that you have joined me in this year. I wish you health and happiness for the coming year. And as always, I remind you to be eternally grateful for the body that you have got. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Gabby.
You're welcome. Thank you all very much. Lovely to see you all. Thank you for joining in.
I'll speak to you in the morning, darling.
All right, take care, Pauline. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. See you next year, I hope.
Thanks, Gabby. All the best.
Peace and well, everyone. Take care. Tina, if you've got a minute, stay on.
Oh yeah, okay.
Bye-bye.
I was in the naughty one, aren't I?
See you soon. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, bye, bye. Oh, so when are you coming? If you start walking.
Oh, no. Sneak
It's
through.
hard, isn't it?
It just feels impossible.
It does, doesn't it? I'm sure it will I think it will suddenly get better, but it's obviously not going to happen for the next week or so, I wouldn't have thought. But
I'm not getting on the plane tomorrow, am I?
well, I don't know. How flexible is your leave? As and when things lift, will you be able to just hop on a plane, or is it not as easy as that?
I can just get on a plane. I can work from there, so it's fine.
As and when you will be able to get out, then it's just a question
Yeah.
of when.
Yeah, I was going to do a bit of work when I came tomorrow because it's year end and things, but yeah.
You'll really be able to crack on with it now, won't you?
Yeah, something good, but never mind. It's
We won't have your starter tomorrow night. We have something that Johnny's concocting.
I've seen what he's concocting.
Don't tell me what it is, so you better not.
He is a fab cook, though. He really does make.
Oh, is he? Oh, he's hiding his light under a bushel. He really is. He said, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not very good. Maybe I'll just bring a few crisps." And I thought, yeah, I bet you were.
He might bring crisps as well. Are you looking forward to it?
Oh, well,
Are you
good.
looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm a bit worried. We're starting very early. We've got to be there at 7:30, and I'm thinking for something that we know is going to go on beyond midnight, that's a long time for guests to be in a home, isn't it?
You'll be fine. But you're the only sober one, aren't you? You'll just have.
Yes. I haven't had a drink for quite a while now. On the 6th of January, it will be 100 days. So I definitely want to get to that point.
Yeah, you do feel better. I had to give it up when I had my gallbladder problems. I did about 4 months, and you just get used to it, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm not missing it at the moment, so I think I've cracked the worst bit. But yeah, we're so sad that you're not coming out, but we'll just hold out for when you do come out. It'll be even nicer, won't it? It'll be more to look forward to. And
Well, and we will meet in person. I'm convinced.
oh yeah, me too. I don't think it'll be that long either, because I know they're reviewing things here on the 6th of January. I know there's talk about stuff changing then. I think it's all to do with you guys coming out of tier 4 or complete lockdown, which I believe might be on the cards, mightn't it?
Yeah, but it's not much difference. I can still meet. I've got lots of friends. We can all still meet.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
outdoors. It's we don't do much in January, Gabby.
Sorry?
We don't do much in January in England. So
This is Simon. You haven't met Simon yet. This is
Simon.
my husband's being led astray by your man.
I know.
We've been shopping this evening.
Oh, have you? Oh God.
I'm not involved in this at all. They've been off on their own.
Getting pairs of socks and gloves.
Okay. So you do you ski then? Or
No.
No.
Badly.
Just start at the top and work your way down, don't you? You can't be that hard.
Cool.
Actually, I did say earlier, what happens if Tina can suddenly get on a flight and you two have cleared off to Granada, but you can come here, I'll sort you out, so we won't worry about it.
We'll have a good time, won't we?
Yeah.
I don't think there's much likelihood.
Well, you never know, never say never, but if it happens, don't worry about it. I can easily come and pick you up and you can stay with us. So the boys are anyway for a couple of days, aren't they? Mind you, every time I talk to Simon, it seems to be getting longer by a day, so.
True. Well, you behave tomorrow.
Yeah, oh yeah, I will, definitely. I shall document the shenanigans. Oh dear. But anyway, are you doing anything tomorrow?
I think I've got karaoke with my sister-in-laws with
Ooh. Should I commiserate or not? Well, perhaps we should have, well, I don't know whether we'll be able to get on the mobile networks, but I was going to say perhaps we'll have to have a quick Zoom call from wherever we are saying hi.
We'll try.
Yeah, we can try, can't we? Have a good one anyway, Tina, and yeah, I'll keep meeting you virtually until such time as
It's a year for it, isn't it? The year for virtual friends.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining in tonight, and
Thank you.
I'll let you know about what's going on next week. All right,
Okay.
take care. Bye. 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 Take care. Bye.